Well, that's Lego Marvel Superheroes done. Man, if only there was a big, bombastic, amazingly written open world game with compelling gameplay under the Marvel umbrella that could also give me purpose for this shiny new console. But there can never be anything like that. In 2018, Insomniac's Spider-Man released on the PS4 to commercial and critical success. And one of the best aspects of the game are the villains. Yep. This game has a lot of villains. Kingpin, Shocker, Vulture, Scorpion, Doc Ock, Mr. Negative, Tombstone, and so much more. Now, you might think that with so many villains, they'd all be underwritten and lame. But that's not true. Mostly. I will admit that the whole Sinister Six, other than Martin, Lee, and Octavius, are kinda just obstacles for Spider-Man, but they all have a goal of some sort. Vulture wants a cure to the effects of his suit, Rhino doesn't want his suit, Elektra wants to be pure energy, and Scorpion just wants money. Honestly, I don't mind the fact that the secondary villains aren't that complex. I mean, do you really think we need compelling backstory to Rhino? Him? The real thing that brings them down for me is how the Rhino and Scorpion boss fight is painful. It's the most annoying part of the game for me. Electro and Vulture's fight was fun though, so it balances out. But there are two more members of this team. The next being Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, is such a cool villain. It honestly baffles me that he's never been adapted before this. Not only is his character design dope as heck, but he also has a tragic backstory. Norman Osborn promised to cure Martin of a childhood sickness, but the experiment failed and killed his parents, and also cursed him with his powers. So now, Martin seeks revenge, which he tries to do by releasing Devil's Breath, an artificial plague made to cure rare diseases. I wonder who that's for. Martin ends up killing a lot of people, including Miles Morales' father, which results in him being arrested, just before breaking out alongside the evil mastermind behind the Sinister Six, who happened to witness the very same experiment that gave Martin his powers. I am not exaggerating in any way when I say that in this game, Dr. Octopus is one of my favorite villains ever. They build him up as a very sympathetic and likable character who only wants to help the world with his genius, but he's diagnosed with a rapidly degenerative neurological disorder. Octavius then slowly descends into madness as his inventions malfunction, and then Norman Osborn shuts down his factory, and that ends up being the straw that breaks the camel's back. He puts his experimental tentacles on and releases Devil's Breath, all to destroy Norman's reputation. The final battle with Doc Ock is one of the most incredible and emotionally palpable moments in any video game I've ever played. The voice acting is perfect. It really encapsulates Peter's betrayal and Octavius' rage in that moment. Gameplay wise, it's fine. Then, the twist is revealed. Octavius knew Peter was Spider Man the whole time, which is probably why he warned Spidey not to interfere with his plans earlier in the game. He really cares for him. Then, Peter wins the fight and has to make the hard decision to not help Otto, who has his arms taken away and his spot in the raft. Honestly, this scene wrecks me. Even though I realized it reminds me a lot of when I tell my sibling to close the door when they leave the room and they don't. Okay, man, I'll see ya. Bro, could you close the door before you leave, please? Where are you going? Peter? So that's the main villains out of the way. So what about the side villains? Oh no. So first of all, there are some villains from just side quests in the main game. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Black Cat. She doesn't do too much in this game other than steal some stuff, fake her death, only to come back in the end to help Spider-Man, so she's not that big of a deal. And then there's Tombstone. In this game, Lonnie is a lot less of a mob boss and more of a scary, indestructible biker guy who you fight and then he goes to jail. So not much there either. Spectacular Spider-Man did it better. My little brother would probably kill me if I didn't talk about Taskmaster, so here you go, brother. Taskmaster has boxes around the city that give you collectibles, and then you end up fighting him twice. The second time ends with him talking about how his boss wants to hire him for something. And then we never see him again. And then there's Screwball and Hammerhead. Could have sworn there were 4 horsemen. Hammerhead is quite possibly the most ridiculous character in any comic adaptation I've ever seen. Look at the character design in the beginning. A pretty normal guy with like a 5 head. Then look at his design at the end. What is this? This is the final boss you fight in the game. And the boss fight is also super annoying too. Well, at least it can't get any worse than that, right? I can't possibly express how much I despise this character. She replaces the Taskmaster missions in the DLC, and they are just the actual worst, because now you have her droning in your ear anytime you make a mistake. And then when I finally stopped her, I was actually disappointed that she only got sent to jail. It's weird that the main villains are so good, but the DLC villains lead you to depression. So, that was Spider-Man for PS4. It had a lot of great villains, and a few not so great ones. But all in all, this was an amazing game. Now, to take a break and... Oh,